Man, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you like a goddamn dollar store. In the modern world we live in today, simping is at an all-time high. Yes, sir, let me say that again. In the modern world that we are living in today, the act of simping, the whole concept of simpery is at an all-time high. And you might be wondering, okay, man, what's the reason for that? How do we cure that? How do we get out of that? Well, relax. Because your boy's about to break this bitch down real quick like a brick for y'all. You gotta understand, when I'm talking about simping, I'm talking about pedestalizing something that is external from you as the Godhead point, as the end all be all in life. And in the modern world we live in today, us as men have pedestalized sex and pussy above all else, above everything else. That is our sense of joy. That is our sense of status. That is our sense of contentment. We've been tricked into believing that because we have become slaves to sex, slaves to our senses, slaves to our carnal nature. Simpery has been a part of humanity forever, and it will always be. And there's different forms of it. You could be simping for money, you could be simping for girls, you could be simping for whatever it is. Something that you're pedestalizing above you. That you have to get this in order to feel like the man, in order to feel like yourself. Something outside of you must be obtained in order for you to actually feel something in life. You could be simping for drugs, you could be simping for alcohol. But today, we're gonna be talking about simping for lust, simping for sex, because that is the most prevalent form of it today. The most prevalent. You see it in broad daylight. You see it face to face as you're walking throughout life. And you might be in that whole situation right now, where you are suffering from the symptoms of being a simp. God damn, man. Well, I'm here to tell you right now, the cure that you're looking for, the medicine that you need to take, is practicing semen retention. Yup, you heard me right. In order for you to alleviate the symptoms and overall address the root cause of the problems of being a simp, you must practice some form of semen retention. When we're talking about simping, of course, for sex. There's other forms of simping, like we just said before, but we're going to address this one right here. The reason why the modern day man has become a simp and a slave to sex is because that's what society wants. Society is breeding simps because they know they can control simps. And when I'm saying simp, stop thinking about some nerd, just weak person. You can have the top G alpha guys being the biggest simps in the world. Matter of fact, in my opinion, they are the biggest simps in the world. They talk about all these things, how, oh man, don't do this for women, don't do this, don't change yourself for women, all that. But all they're doing on the back end, if you really look at the details, they're curating their whole life to get this specific type of girl, and they're trying to treat them bad because they know that treating them bad in that way, oh, I'm the top G, I'm the alpha G, is something that triggers something psychologically in them because they've had bad upbringings with their fathers, and these men have had bad upbringings with their mothers, so it's a perfect match. But like we said before in a previous video, for the divine masculine and the divine feminine to unify, you need to get out of this simp mindset. You must. And the reason why semen retention, this whole practice of celibacy and learning how to conserve your life force energy and transmute it to higher levels and higher pursuits and higher states of consciousness is the cure, comes down to the fact that you start to break off the chains of needing external gratification of the senses, aka sensual pleasures, sexual pleasures, to feel like you're the man, to feel like you're just alive. You don't need that anymore. It's like you get off the drugs, you get off the IV, you get off the heroin, you get off the meth, You're no longer a fiend for sexuality. And I want to make this very clear. Sexuality is not evil. Sexuality is not bad. A lot of these semen retention, no-fap content creators will be talking about how lust is evil, this is bad, gotta battle the urges, man, all that bullshit. That's not what I'm trying to put down for you guys. What I'm trying to say is that same energy that creates sexual urges, that manifests as sexual urges, is the same energy that can create the life that you want. It's the same energy that can create the business that you want. It's the same energy that can create the music that you want, the art that you want, the purpose that you were brought here to fulfill, your spiritual duty, aka your dharma. That is the lifeblood, the life force, the energy that is needed to help manifest that. Because at the end of the day, like I've said so many times before, sexual energy is creative energy. You just have been subjugated, tricked, and trapped to become a simp, and the simp only knows one way to express that energy: sexual release, the lowest form, not the most evil form, not the bad form, the lowest form, because that's just the lowest form of it. There's higher states, higher levels. Are you picking up what the fuck I'm putting down? So don't think that in order for you to break out of the simp mindset, you need to demonize women. You need to demonize these erotic things. That's a part of life. That's a part of life, and that's the beauty of life. You see all these guys who are just hardcore simps, and they're, oh man, I'm on no-fap, I'm on semen retention, this and that. I'm battling urges, bro. We need to ban porn. We need to lock up all these OnlyFans girls. Bro, that's a joke. You're just adding more to your simpery. The more you try to eliminate lust, defeat lust, the more power you're actually feeding it. The more power you are feeding it. Because that same energy, like I said before, can learn to be tamed and be the source of your elevation on the mental, physical, and spiritual planes of reality. If you learn and you understand how it is the cure to breaking the chains of being a slave to your senses. That's how powerful this practice is. That's the main premise of it. It's not about quitting porn. It's not about stopping chasing women. It's not about just overall being in a state where no sexual thoughts come in your mind. It's about using that energy to your advantage, leveraging your libido towards your advantage, and aiming it towards wherever you want to actually see this energy manifest. To see where this energy can propel you towards. It is a catalyst. Because now, as you practice semen retention, you break out of the simp mindset due to the fact that you stop chasing external pleasures. You start abiding in a state of existence referred to as joy. That's what your soul really wants. Pleasures come and go. They're like the wind. They're emotionally based. And if you are always chasing after that, you're going to go from one form of pleasure to another form of pleasure to another, and looking for something that is a little bit, it hits a little bit harder. You need more of it to do it, to feel that same expression. And you're always going to be on this hamster wheel. When you break out of that, do this type of practice of semen retention, along with the other spiritual practices that we talk about on this channel, on the main channel, on the private Patreon community. Of course, man, shout out to the fucking private Patreon community. Look, man, if you're trying to break out of the simp mindset and you're really looking to ascend towards your highest potential on the mental, physical, and spiritual planes of reality, then bro, I'm telling you right now, if you're enjoying these types of topics, you are doing yourself a disfavor. Let me say that again. You're doing yourself, not me, yourself a disfavor by not joining up into the private Patreon community, because within there, you get access to even more in-depth and more in-detail content from these exclusive videos full guides, in-depth occult lectures, and most importantly, if you tap into the Philosopher's Circle, aka the highest membership tier group within the private Patreon community, you'll get access to our bi-weekly mastermind live calls where you hop on a call with me as well as a community of like-minded men who are also on this path of self-mastery, who are also focused on breaking free from the chains that are pulling them down, the anchors that are pulling them down to their carnal nature, to their lower self, and ascending back to the higher self on all planes of reality. We got a private group chat where we talk about all these topics. We hop on the live calls and get into detail with all these different types of subjects. So if you're interested in stuff like that, man, and being around a community of like-minded men who are also on the same path as you, check out the links posted in the pinned comment of this video. And of course, within the pinned comment of this video, you'll also be able to get access to our other links, such as our other services, including the personalized coaching program with me, one-on-one consultation calls, weekly newsletters, free community Discord server, all posted in the pinned comment of this video. But like I was saying, for the people that are watching this channel, the main channel, who might be tapped into the private Patreon community, who might be working with me one-on-one or hopping on consultation calls, we talk about much deeper subjects that you pair along with semen retention, such as the spiritual practices, such as the physical outlets, such as the mental practices, such as a spiritual creative pursuit. That all comes together to break you out of the simp mindset. But that initial kick is semen retention, and that's the lifeblood to keep it going. When you start to revert that energy back towards yourself and you start giving it up to external things that aren't really going to give you true fulfillment in life, that's when the mind starts to rewire. That's when your psyche starts to alter. That's when you start to break free from the chains, the Maya, the matrix that is constraining your consciousness, has it in a chokehold, and you break free from that. Now, you are no longer hypnotized by what society wants you to be engrossed in and develop in that simp mindset. You break free from that. You revert the energy back to yourself. You revert the focus back to yourself, because now you are mastering the self. You are not going to break out of the simp mindset by hating women, by saying I'm going on monk mode, by saying I'm going on my winter arc. Sorry, bro, that's not going to happen. The way you break out of this simp mindset is building true self-worth through the practice of self-mastery. And again, simping is mainly just overall propagated to the sexual pursuit. If your self-worth is found in how many women you have, what's your body count, what do women think about you? Oh man, look at me, bro. What's my looks maxing number, bro? Can you just rate me? If you have all of that being your actual telltale sign of how overall developed you are as a man, you're a fucking clown. You're a simp, even though you got hundreds of girls that you've smashed. You are living your life and curating in a way where your main goal, your main mission is to clap cheeks. Fucking pathetic. Fucking pathetic. And people are probably like, oh man, well, you just get bitches, this and that. Listen, every single one of you guys was incarnated here with this specific body, with this specific psyche, with this specific time and age, with specific skills, and a specific, of course, ancestral lineage that act as tools, act as gifts, act as overall mechanisms for you to materialize and manifest your God-given gifts to the world. And you're telling me your main mission in life is seeing how many girls you can smash? That's simp behavior. Simp mindset that society wants you stuck in, because guess what? It keeps you stuck and operating in your lower states of consciousness not realizing that you are far more than the body, you are far more than the mind, but you are the spirit that is animating the flesh, that is incarnated here for a reason, for that dharma. You can't understand that dharma, you can't discover that dharma if you just keep adding on more karma by being a slave to carnality and consumerism. That's what keeps this whole cycle of samsara running. And simping is a great way to keep people stuck in that cycle, because they believe that what's gonna give me true fulfillment in life? More bitches. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's the thing, bro. That's the thing. And trust me, I've been there before. I've been there, done that. And I'm telling you, because I've gone on this side and I've seen the other side. The other side, when you build up true self-worth, true self-confidence by sexual continence, you break free from those debilitating chains. And like I've said before, this is the hardest emotion to manage, to tame. Everything else becomes much easier when you learn how to leverage your libido and shift it from lust into an actual source that you can leverage towards your advantage. Everything else becomes that much easier. All the other chains, all the other things that they are connecting you towards and causing you to be anchored down towards your lower self become that much easier to overcome. This is why I say it's the catalyst. When you practice semen retention, you start up the engine. You start up the fireworks to fuel that divine spark that's within you that will guide you to glory, that will guide you towards godhood, that will guide you towards your ultimate potential in life on the mental, physical, and spiritual planes, where you are abiding in a state of true fulfillment. You don't need external validation. You don't need external sources of pleasure, of dopamine to make you feel like you're alive. There's a reason why you keep chasing after one thing to another thing to another thing. You have been tricked into believing that that source of pleasure is what you want. But in reality, what you really, really, really want to experience is that existence and abiding in that state of spiritual ecstasy and joy that only comes from the inner journey, the inner process of purification. You want to be in control of your life? You want to break out of this simp mindset? It requires purification, because that's a liberating just overall journey. And liberation requires purification. Purification is a prerequisite for liberation. What do I mean by liberation? Is now when you're free, you can walk through life with beautiful women passing you by. You can even scroll on Instagram and there's beautiful women on it. Of course, I'm not gonna promote you just scrolling through fucking Instagram models, OnlyFans models, but you can see it and not be hypnotized. It's like, oh man, I need that, I need that, I need that, I need that. You can live at a higher state of consciousness and you can just view these types of things and be the one in control. Do I want to actually engage in this type of stuff, or do I want to continue my path towards my purpose? See, again, it's not about demonizing sex. It's not about demonizing women. It's not about demonizing even the pornography stuff. It's by replacing that addiction that you must have. Like people who are simps must have that release, because the energy needs to go somewhere. That libido needs to go somewhere. It needs to be transmuted, or it has to be released and expressed. Energy is never stagnant. But when you practice semen retention, you bypass that release. You go beyond that. And you're like, oh man, these sexual urges are just energy at the end of the day. I can use it forever, whatever the thing that I want. I'm the captain now. If you ever watched Captain Phillips, I'm the captain now. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? You go beyond the cravings and the overall confinements of being a slave to the senses. Now you take back the steering wheel. And when you take back the steering wheel, that's when you stop becoming a simp. It's not when you stop whacking your meat. It's not when you stop chasing women. That's a part of the process. But if you don't have that internal purification happening underneath the surface, It don't matter. That's why I say, man, all these other content creators, I'm not trying to bash on anybody, but what I'm saying is, as someone who's been on this journey for quite some time, who's been on the other side for quite some time, I'm telling you right now, when you go beyond the surface levels of just, oh man, I need 1,000 days of semen retention, I need to hit this day of semen retention, I need to be doing NoFap November. When you go beyond that and get down into the deeper levels of these practices, why these ancient mystics, why these yogis, why these sadhus, why these sages and saints of time, these spiritual realized masters, even the greatest innovators of the world, the Steve Jobs, the Nikola Teslas, the Isaac Newtons, did some form of celibacy and semen retention, is because they understood that once you get past those layers of being, oh man, I'm repressing my sexual energy, repressing, I gotta restrain from everything, I'm fighting urges, blah, blah, blah. When you go beyond that, you realize that that energy is neutral. You can do whatever you want it to do. But when you're a simp, that energy is being controlled and warped in a way to be expressed and depleted and drained in your lowest form possible. And when I'm saying lowest form, because you're not even creating a child with that. You're just doing it for sense gratification. You're like a monkey that needs to be gratified. You need that. You can't control yourself. And that's pathetic. That's why I've said so much before. Self-improvement doesn't mean shit for you guys, especially who are watching this channel. Like I've said so many times before, the people who watch this specific channel are more psychologically and spiritually mature on their journeys. I'm not saying you're better than anyone. I'm not saying you're a chosen one. I'm not saying none of that. You just have been blessed with the ability and capability to grasp these types of concepts that most people will not be able to, and they won't even be able to watch a video for this long. For you guys, self-mastery is the process that you need. Self-improvement can only get you so far. Oh man, I've quit porn for 30, 40 days. That's great. I'm not bashing you about that. I commend you for that. But is that your ultimate goal? Your ultimate goal is to be liberated and free. Liberated and free from all the external cravings, external desires, external forces trying to pull you down to your lower self. You build up that force field and you engage within the world however you want. If you don't want to watch porn, you don't have to watch porn anymore. If you don't want to go chase around women, you don't have to go chase around with women anymore. If you do want to go engage and talk to these girls, you can, and you're not like in a state of like you're not salivating like a dog. You're the one in charge. You put yourself on a level playing field. You're not pedestalizing anything anymore because you found true fulfillment within yourself, not outside of you anymore. That's how powerful this practice is. That's why it is a cure to knock off the symptoms of simp behavior. And I'm here to tell you right now, as your doctor, I'm prescribing it to all you motherfuckers out here. You can get some, you can get some, you can get some, everybody getting some. Because it's needed, especially in the modern day world we live in today. Don't demonize anything, but just play the games properly. You can't change the way society is warped. It's fucked. I know. But all you can do is master the self. You can't master society. But funny enough, when you master the self, you start to operate in life in a much more controlled manner, and you are the one calling the shots. Not your urges, not your lower self, not your animalistic cravings, your carnal nature. The higher consciousness that is going to lead you to glory is the one calling the shots. And that process can only happen when you're operating beyond the levels of survival, sex, and status. That's what people are mainly simping for. Survival. Money, 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 money. People are simping for money. Sex, obviously we just talked about that. And status. What do people think of me? Am I the top G? Am I the alpha? Does this guy think you think I'm alpha? You think I'm alpha? Ah man, that's awesome, bro. People are simping for all those. Survival, sex, and status. When you go past that, you're no longer in that simp mode. You're past the barrier of simps. You become from a simp to a sovereign entity. God damn, let me say that again. You transmute and transform yourself from a simp to a sovereign entity. That's how powerful this practice is. Because you're reclaiming back the power that you've always had. And not letting the external world pull your dick around wherever it wants to go. You take back control and you operate in a plane of existence, in a plane of consciousness that is unfazed by the external. Unfazed. That's why I said before on this channel, semen retention builds a stoic state of mind naturally. It's just a part of the process. You shift into the stoic state of mind, helping you, again, break off the simp tendencies. It's that powerful, man. And for the people that are picking up what the fuck I'm putting down, but like, hey, man, I've tried it, can't succeed on it. Well, your boys got you covered, because if you go on YouTube and type in how to succeed on semen retention, you'll find a full video guide on how to actually properly implement this practice into your life. Full video guide on the main channel, Full Body Fitness. Just type in how to succeed on semen retention. You'll find it right there. And funny enough, within the video, you'll be able to get access to the free, yes sir, you heard me right, for the free Art of Retention ebook. It's a whole ebook that I wrote going on every single detail that you need to succeed on this journey, that goes even more in depth than the video. And look, if you're retarded, you're dyslexic, you have ADHD, and you can't sit down and read, your boys still got you covered, because there's a whole audio series on the Art of Retention ebook on the main channel, Full Body Fitness. Just go on playlist, you'll find it, audio series, pop it in while you're walking, while you're driving, while you're doing your work, whatever it is, so you can get up on some game to your motherfucking brain, so you ain't out here looking like a lame anymore. Are you digging what I'm saying, man? No more simpery. I don't want to see none of that no more for the people that are tapped into this type of content. And look, if you need even more guidance at that point, tap into the private Patreon community, bro. Hop on these live calls with us. Apply for the personalized coaching program. Let's hop on a consultation call. You have so many resources right there for you at your disposal to finally break yourself out of that simp mindset and tap into the sovereign entity your spirit was brought here to be. Break free from the shackles of your lower self and liberate yourself in order to attain true self-mastery and attain true self-realization, understanding who you are and what you were really brought here to do, beyond the physical barriers, beyond the physical confines, beyond the illusions. The whole world is trying to distract you from that, distract you from finding that dharma, distracting you from finding your spiritual duty. And simping is one of the greatest ways to distract men's purpose away from them. Again, it's not about women are the bad part. The evil is coming after you. It's not. These are all distractions, and you have consciously, whether you know it or not, chose to fall into that. Yes, you might have not been aware, but you did it to yourself. Because the world doesn't want this type of information. I'm not saying because it's for me. Look, like, I'm nobody in this whole thing, man. I'm just trying to drop some game for you guys that I wish I got earlier about just life in general, so I can streamline your guys' path to self-mastery much quicker. I've gone through the ups, I've gone through the downs. I know what has worked for me. Some of the things might work for you too. Some of them might not. That's totally fine. But this type of information, especially on this channel, especially on the private Patreon community, when we go in depth, you ain't gonna find that nowhere. I'm sorry to tell you that. You gotta hop in, tap in with us to find that type of content, okay? But this type of content right here is not being pushed out, not being propagated. Society is not going to uphold it because they want to keep us compressed, constrained, and cut off from that higher source, because it's easier to manipulate and overall make people mere cogs to the machine of the matrix when they're stuck in a state of simping. You just dangle a little piece of carrot, they'll follow. You'll dangle a little piece of pussy, they'll follow. You'll dangle this, you'll dangle that. Slave mindset. Never realizing what you truly are and breaking free from this cycle of samsara by liberating the soul. That's what this whole journey of self-mastery is about. And semen retention is a catalyst and a whole part of that. The things I talk about on this channel, the main channel, with the people I work with one-on-one, on the private Patreon community, is not about just semen retention, retaining your semen. It's about liberation, and semen retention is a part of that. And liberating yourself from that simp mindset is one of the first steps to truly awaken the soul. Because you're no longer bound to the external pleasures, and you realize that internal joy is what you are really seeking for. You're not getting fooled again by these lower level desires. Even though they're not evil, even though they're not bad, but you're not being fooled by thinking that that's the main course meal. That's a side dish. If you want the side dish, get the side dish later on. Let's get the main meal, your main mission, your main purpose, your main dharma locked in first. That's the dessert if you want to dabble in that later on. Let's hit the main macronutrients, your compound lifts, your big moves that you got to make in order to ensure that you get to that state of being liberated. This is why this practice is so powerful, man. And again, you got the full guide, you got the ebook, you got all the content on this channel, on the main channel. If you tap into the private Patreon community, you hop on consultation call, we get you into the personalized coaching program. You got everything you need if you're truly serious about this practice and path of self-mastery in order to attain true self-realization and liberate yourself from all the fuckery and nonsense that this society is trying to pull you down towards. There's no excuse. Get out there and produce. It's been your boy out here in the field, in the flesh, dropping out that game so you guys can make these gains, and I'm out of here. Peace.